This year, we have close to 2,000 of our most fanatical, knowledgeable, and fun users and practitioners here, and I'm truly humbled that so many of you would travel from all over the world and take a few days to come to Chicago and be part of our special community. This is a Swiss cowbell, and when we were visiting some of our customers and friends in Switzerland, they gave this to us as a gift, and they asked us if I would ring it during Relativity Fest. Rolf, that is for you. Thank you for the excellent gift. Thank you to our sponsors for supporting and exhibiting at our show. Thank you to all of our submissions for the Innovation Awards. You guys have done some amazing stuff this year, and thank you all of you for coming. Our goals for Relativity Fest are simple. We want to celebrate this community and this ecosystem that all of you have built. We want to hear from you. What are we doing well? What are we not doing well? Where you really need us to go. We want to give you tangible nuggets of goodness that you'll be able to take away and put to use immediately to get the most out of Relativity. We want to get you excited about the software and all the new capabilities that we've delivered and going to be delivering over the next few months. And finally, well, we want to show you a good time because this is Fest and we like to party. We have a great show for you this week, and you're going to love it. I can't believe we've been doing this for 8 years. Look at the community that you all have built. Welcome to Fest. So, when we started the company, SK Cure in 2001, we were a consulting firm, and we did a lot of interesting work for our clients, building collaboration and knowledge management tools. And over time, we would do more and more work in the legal space, building practice management tools for law firms. And one of the projects was the genesis of what is now Relativity. And we had something really special with Relativity, and we were super lucky with our timing. It was 2007, and the market was starting to shift. Legal discovery was going electronic, and the volumes of data was skyrocketing. And the market needed a solution that could handle the unique demands of dealing with these large amounts of native data. And with the support of our early customers, we stopped consulting and put all of our efforts into making Relativity. I loved the work and the shared goals that we would have with our customers. We would work with law firms and their litigation teams to help them produce the best outcomes for their clients at lowest costs. We would work with e-discovery solution providers to try to give them the most flexible and powerful platform to serve their clients, solve problems, and grow their businesses. And together, we would serve a shared client, the corporations, where we would help them reach optimal outcomes for their disruptive litigation events as quickly as possible, and in turning allowing them to focus on their work and their own missions. And over time, we would start working with government regulators to help them quickly and efficiently regulate industry and enforce laws to protect their citizens. And I'm personally humbled and take a lot of pride that governments across the globe use our software in such an important way. I love the work that we do. I love the customers we serve. I love building this software. Customer by customer, one day, one user, 1 gig at a time, we worked as a community to develop Relativity and the ecosystem what it is today. And we are incredibly grateful to all of our customers and all of our partners for their time and the investment that all of you have made into the platform and all the input and support that you've given us over the years. Today, there are more than 164,000 users of the platform in 13,000 organizations. We have 97 billion files in Relativity and over 150,000 workspaces. This year alone, we've ingested more than 18 billion documents, 5.3 petabytes of data into Relativity workspaces. It is amazing what all of you are doing with Relativity. In August, we changed the name of the company from Keycura to Relativity, and this change is natural to us. Developing and supporting this product has been our core focus for the last 10 years. Our 800+ team members around the globe work hard every day to help our customers, to help you organize data, discover the truth, and act on it. And we do this in the context of e-discovery. We're in the business of e-discovery. And this business, it's messy. E-discovery is slow. It's a risky process. And we are fighting all kinds of challenges. We are dealing with the constant growth in data size and scope. Corporations have data everywhere, in legacy systems, on-premises systems, in the cloud. New stuff is popping up on a regular basis, and the volumes are growing exponentially, making it even harder. Speed. People want to move faster. Every business is moving faster. Everyone expects e-discovery to move faster too. It is never fast enough. We're dealing with multi-system efficiency issues. Manually moving data between multiple systems to facilitate a standard e-discovery workflow, it slows down the process, it introduces risk, and it makes the process way more complex than it needs to be. We're dealing with multi-party issues, with organizations' most sensitive data living amongst multiple parties, which introduces additional risk. And finally, all this data privacy stuff is coming up, these complex regulations that we can keep certain data in country and not sent or viewed by external parties in other geographies. Lots of problems that we have to work through, lots of challenges. These are opportunities. And we're working every day with this community to try to solve these problems and execute towards a shared vision to simplify and accelerate how the world conducts e-discovery by bringing the entire process and community together in one open and flexible connected platform. How do we get there? Well, first, it's by delivering a single technology platform that can power any project. We strive for Relativity to serve the needs of all of our constituents. To do that, we need to make sure that the product is extensible, that it's fast, that it's secure, that it's intelligent with embedded analytics and machine learning, and provides the richest capabilities spanning the entire e-discovery lifecycle, on-premise or in the cloud. It's about connecting Relativity to everything that we can, and we can create an interconnected e-discovery experience. Identity can span across instances can connect to one another, Relativity can connect directly with key sources of enterprise data and other market-leading e-discovery technologies. Our goal is to help users more seamlessly and automatically facilitate the transfer of data anywhere, reducing risk and significantly speeding up the process. Third, it's about creating network effect for our users. And with so many skilled professionals and organizations using the platform across all segments of the industry, we want to create an ecosystem where cross-party collaboration becomes easier, best practices are shared, templates and applications are easily exchanged, and innovation spreads. We can attract other software companies and startups to the ecosystem, and with so many forward-thinking minds, we can accomplish a tremendous amount of good stuff. Simplify and accelerate how the world conducts e-discovery by bringing the entire process and community together in one open and flexible connected platform. Every day, we work with this community to advance that vision. And it's amazing to learn what you are doing with the software and the success that you're having with it. The outcomes are motivating, and these stories are the fuel that keep me and so many Keycurians, Relativians, going to build great software. I love this amazing story. Cozen O'Connor. Their client had a salesperson that left. The salesperson left, went to a competitor. The client thought that, hey, that salesperson took the customer list, and they filed a complaint. And 2 weeks before the deposition, they did a monstrous document dump. 2 million documents 2 weeks before the first deposition. And with 10 days and just 3 people, they used Relativity Assisted Review to find 100 hot documents, 10 with strong evidence against the opposition. And then during deposition, they brought up these 10 hot documents, the one smoking gun. They had to walk out of the deposition and then settle for 10 times the amount that they originally asked for. Amazing outcome. Liberty Mutual Insurance, they bring Relativity in-house to handle their whole e-discovery process. After mastering the standard use cases, they're like, how can we be more proactive with the technology to make smarter decisions on future complaints? And they're using the technology to try to understand the trends and characteristics of these past complaints and then use it to predict future outcomes and help prevent fraud. They're getting more proactive with the technology. An amazing story. And throughout the keynote, we'll be sharing these amazing stories to celebrate the success that our customers have been having with the technology and to inspire you with what could be done. And maybe we can motivate you to upgrade. Speaking of upgrades, tell me how much you love upgrading Relativity. I expected a bunch of jeers. For our customers in Relativity 1, upgrading is not something you need to worry about. But for our on-prem customers, we know that upgrading is a challenge. And we want to make it easy for you to get access to our latest innovations, and we're working on making it easier to upgrade your systems by giving you a concierge approach to the upgrade process through our customer success team and through our technical support teams. And so in April this year, we've announced our upgrade readiness program. And this allows you to work with our teams to plan and execute your upgrade. And since April, we've done 91 upgrades for 83 customers, and we're planning an additional 122 over the next few months. The results have been great, and here's what people have been telling us about the program. Where was this years ago when we first started using Relativity? This is exactly what we need. I really like what you guys are doing. I wish all my vendors would do this. This process was so easy, maybe we should just upgrade every month. It's pretty hard, trust me, we're doing it. We have put a lot of energy into this upgrade readiness program because we want you to get the most value from your Relativity subscription. We want you to be on the most recent version. And our efforts are working, and it's getting more and more of our users to version 9.5, and 9.5 is now the fastest adopted version ever. Reach out to your customer success manager today to get on the schedule, or better yet, just migrate to Relativity 1. You don't need to worry about it anymore. So I kicked off the talk reaffirming our vision of simplifying and accelerating how the world conducts e-discovery. And we believe this vision requires delivering a single technology platform that can power any project. And I want to share with you all the progress that we've made, some of the progress that we've made since we met last year in October of 2016. And first, let's start with processing. So first, our goals for processing are simple. One, that it should be super easy to operate, and anyone with Relativity skills should be able to process data and load it into Relativity. The fastest way to get unprocessed data into Relativity should be through Relativity Processing, supporting the fastest speed of review. And then third, it has depth when you need it. It has depth when you need it to handle complex requirements. And you've told us that you love our vision for processing, that you love operating it from the web, that you love having a single platform. And for many of you who have adopted it, you've had great success with it. Check out this case study. Single workspace, 15 terabytes of data, 800 custodians, 1,100 processing sets, 40 million documents published, most of it in 2 months. Amazing story, all within Relativity. Here's another one. Firm moves into our processing, reduced the amount of errors that they got from their legacy product by 90%. And over the course of the year, 6 million docs, 93 cases, 462 unique processing sets. Now, the biggest complaint that we've heard from you is that you have to babysit processing to make sure it goes smoothly through the job. Look at workers, check CPU counts, force killed processes from the back end. A lot of nerdy, processing person stuff. And so the big thing we set out to improve in 2017 is the resiliency of the system, the ability to mount a large set of heinous and heterogeneous data, kick off the job, go home, and then come to work the next morning and feel confident that you can just come in and your data is just there. and we've made a ton of progress this year. We've improved the resiliency of publish with what we call distributed publish. We've implemented special job logic to do application automation if workers crash, and we've just made the individual file type handler more resilient, and the results are impressive. Here's Oasis, a long-time processing client. This is a simple job. Before the update, with a lot of the resiliency stuff that we had, they were getting publish rates. They were 55K an hour. They'd have to rerun the sets, almost triple the speeds now, no errors, much more stable, consistent output, no reruns. No errors. Now, the work that we've done to improve processing in Relativity naturally reduce the number of errors that you overall are going to encounter. But when you do encounter errors, we want to streamline the error management process. In fact, we want to make resolving errors in Relativity much like running a review process, doing it all through the web. All through the web. So let us show you how it works, error management in Relativity Processing. So first, I've processed a bunch of data, and I've got 40-some errors here. I click on my errors tab. You get a nice little dashboard that's all configurable because it's fluid of the type of errors, the status, your processing source that lists by the custodian, the identified file types. You can go in and try to resolve all the errors at once, or maybe you want to focus on a certain area or a custodian first. You drop into your error review queue. You get a nice little synopsis of the error. You can choose what to do with it. Hey, I'm going to ignore this one. This one I'm actually going to try to resolve, so I can then download the file. I download the file. I can then open it up in whatever. I notice that this thing is corrupted, so I'm going to repair it. I then drag and drop it into the thing. It uploads into the system, and then I click retry, and then off it goes. It's as simple as that. Maybe we can have a new metric in our industry, errors resolved per hour. Everyone can start talking about that. Or maybe we can just work to having no errors. It'd be much better, huh? We now have 268 customers relying on Relativity Processing. And remember, in Relativity 1, there are no fees for processing or processing workers, and the system scales when you need it. And we're seeing upwards of 80 gigabytes per hour to process and load data into a workspace in Relativity 1. Another great case study of Relativity being a workhorse. 135 million documents published, 78 terabytes, tons of processing sets, single job highlight. Relativity Processing can be your workhorse. Okay, processing is just a step. I think it's amazing that I'm having a montage with thousands of people talking about data processing. And you guys are interested. Or most of you, I think. Processing is just a step. It's just a step to get to where all the magic happens, and that is to review and analyze our data. And all the progress that we've made in Relativity Review and Analysis over the past year has been focused in the areas of the fluid list view, the document viewer itself, and what we're doing with Relativity Analytics. First, let's talk about Fluid. The Fluid project has been a multi-year development effort to pull in multi-year development out to modernize the way you list and view and work with lists of data in Relativity. The Fluid UI is composed of 3 components: the list itself, the search interface, and the dashboards and the visualization widgets that you can use to get deeper insights to your data. And our goals with Fluid are to give you fast and powerful tools to interrogate your data and discover the truth. Now, the work that we've been focusing on in Fluid in 2017 is we've been furthering, refining the interface, making it smoother, trying to make it a bit more intuitive, roughing out the edges. We've been improving the speed. We've significantly improved the speed of Fluid. We continue to enhance the dashboard functionality, and then finally, we are increasing the coverage by just having more and more of the application leverage the Fluid UI. And when you use Fluid in our latest release, it's amazing to work with. There's all these little creature comforts, right? You can do type-ahead filtering. Things are super smooth. You can see it's fast. You can now run index searches right within the interface, right? Add widgets right on demand. Go select your saved profiles or basically generate one when you need it. Add the pivot, there you go. It's quick. You can resize very quickly, there you go. You can go nuts with these things. Add as many as you want. You know why? Because they're fully interactive too. Build your searches based on your widgets and watch your entire dashboard refresh. Save your favorites. There you go. Put in an order. One day we're going to fix that and make that more automatic. Save. There we go. We got our dashboard. Here we go. We're moving things around. Export it. Comes into Excel. Send it off. Send it off to your client. Again, a lot of great capability. The one thing that I want, I was sitting here with a customer maybe like 3-4 months ago, and they tried the software in like a late version of 9.4, and he was like, I don't use that crap, it's awful. It's like a lot of the stuff that we build, we release it, we refine it, we work on it, we make it better, we get your feedback. But I gotta tell you now, this stuff is like, it's amazing, it's fast, it works really well, and we have to make it work because we're gonna basically turn off the classic UI, and this is gonna be the way you do stuff very soon. I gotta tell you, I love working with Fluid, and so do our customers. Here's an amazing story. So Holland Knight upgraded to the latest version, and then had a campaign to get people trained up on the next version, and the dashboards was a big part of it. And it basically, doing this allowed them to, the case teams were doing less work because the partners were going in and answering their own questions. And so they were allowing them to move faster, and they didn't have to build reports or do things in Excel or answer questions. People were just going in and doing it all within the interface itself. And the greatest thing about this case study is that partner usage of Relativity increased 30%, surpassing associates for the first time. So the partners were starting using more than the associates. And it was because the interactivity and the power of the Fluid and dashboards. Super cool. So this year we've been refining Fluid, making it faster, incorporating more capability in dashboards. If you're not on 9.5, upgrade to 9.5, work with our success team and they'll help you. And remember, before we go, the classic UI is going away and will be removed from the system when we introduce Relativity 9.6 early next year, and we're actually turning it off in Relativity 1 next month. Okay. So that was Fluid. The second area that we've been focused on is the document viewer itself. And there's two enhancements that I'm super excited about. One is the speed, and second is to something that we've been calling document intelligence. First, let's talk about speed. Once you have the reviewer interface loaded up, navigating from doc to doc is significantly faster. Check it out. On average, we're getting sub-second doc-to-doc navigation speed, and our engineers are hard at work at making it even faster. It's wicked fast. Second, I want to talk about hidden content. The viewer is designed to present the content of the document as the author intended you to. And so what we first wanted to do is just notify the reviewer, hey, there's some hidden stuff in here. Then two, give you the ability to actually show that hidden content. And here you can see some of the attributes that we now will notify you and display. Let us show you how it works. Give it up for our guy, Demo Dan Miller.
Hello. Hello, Andrew.
Hello. Someone yesterday at the party last night said it makes them really nervous when I stand behind you like this.
It doesn't make me nervous. This is how we work, right?
This is how we work.
I'll be sitting at my desk and you'll come up and
hurry up!
Me and what's going on?
Yes.
So we've got a list of documents here in Relativity. We want to talk about doc-to-doc review speeds. We want to talk about hidden content. But we're going to pull up a saved search here. We've got one saved search. We're going to flip over to another one.
Did you guys notice that the dashboard came up along with the saved search?
Yeah, right. So we've done something interesting here. What we've done is we've introduced the ability to pin a dashboard to a saved search. You can also do this with a view. This is something we've been talking about doing in Relativity since we first introduced Pivot in Relativity 6,
yes.
I think it was, right? So you think about it, like fluid, pivot, whatever, it's all about getting a visualization about the data.
Yes.
Get your arms around the data.
And crafting that perfect way to look at it.
Right, right.
Perfect.
So up to now, you've had to like select your documents and select your visualization. Select your documents, select your
Now it's all
visualization.
one.
Now you don't have to think about it. You got your data. We click, save, and search.
There we go.
And so now we've got some visualizations here to help us pin down and say, hey, I want to take a look at our documents here.
Yep.
We can go over here. Another fun little fluid nugget.
Quickly
You
to
can
just look at the docs, yeah.
double click on the hamburger to expand the list.
Okay, the viewer pops open.
Here's a viewer,
Fast.
pops open. Yeah, pretty fast, takes a second to load up the cube, but then once we go through, you can see as we go dock to dock, even on a kind of busy hotel connection, we're spinning through these documents really, really quickly.
Okay, wait, show an email. Like the show
Yeah, so Nick Robertson didn't like where this thread is going. We spin down here, but
Ah.
you can see we've done a nice little like
Pin the
thing
thing
here,
up there.
pin the subject, pin the sent
nice.
date. Yeah, yeah.
And it looks like an email, and not some weird e-discovery email.
No, it looks like really significant, like the native document itself.
Cool.
And another thing we've done that's really nice, we look at this document here, we've made it really easy to see what kind of attachments you're working with. So you got a nice Word icon, you got a nice Excel icon.
Cool.
So digging into the hidden content we were talking about here.
Ah.
So here you can see down at the bottom right-hand corner, we've got a little notification letting us know that there's hidden content. If we click on that, it tells us what type of hidden content we have. Here we've got some track changes. We could pop open the native if we wanted to dig into those changes. If we move to the next document, here we've got a nice Excel spreadsheet here. And you can see that if I toggle back and forth, rows 9 and 10, column F,
cool.
the Innovation Awards tab. This is like all about Fest, right?
You're like blowing the thing of the.
There's like a bunch of spoilers here, so like if you want to read ahead.
Move guys quickly, yes.
Okay, so we also have the ability to, if we click into one of these cells, we've got a nice formula
right.
bar, so we can see the formulas of the Excel as well. So a whole lot more you can see in the native viewer without popping up in the native itself. One other thing to check out, which is a PowerPoint presentation. Again, we've got a nice notification letting us know that we've got hidden information. If we scroll down, you can see, I got to pop open my hidden content here. You can see that I've got speaker notes. I've got a little comment here that was in the native. In the lower left-hand corner of my slide, I've got this little hidden icon here letting us know we had hidden content. So as we scroll through, we can see all this hidden information.
Cool. Yeah. And you've like blown it that like I have all my notes.
Yeah.
In this little cheat sheet here.
I don't know if it's a secret, man.
Oh.
No.
I get nervous, guys. I need my little cheat sheet.
Cool.
Cool.
So let's go ahead and just grab this document here, and we'll code it responsive.
Cool. There we go.
If we jump back out, one other thing we want to check out related to the reviewing of documents is audit.
Okay.
So we're going to pop into audit. So what we have here in a nice fluid view is the 700,000 actions that have been taken in this workspace over the last
Powered by the data grid.
4 years or so. That's a whole lot of actions. I don't need to look at all of them, so I'll just go ahead and select the last handful of days, and you can see I've made a bunch of actions, a bunch of other users have. I want to zero in on the actions I've made. It takes a second to query that down, take a look. I want to, again, zero in on the document changes I've made. And when I scroll down here, when I scroll down here, you can see at the top, there's that change I just made to the document. And I didn't really make much thought behind that. I just clicked responsive and went. So what that means, I'll just go ahead and maximize this. If I scroll over, it was not responsive. I changed it to responsive. That probably wasn't the right call. So what I can now do using audit is revert that change. So I go ahead and click, it'll revert that change, but it's not just a single action. I can also...
You could do it in bulk, too.
I can do it in bulk. So
if you want to erase the history of a bad reviewer over the past, week...
You got it.
You're like, you're done to me.
Yep. Use Fluid, slice and dice your data, get the right list.
Everything.
Revert.
Very cool. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Oh, let me go back. And we are just getting going. Our viewer team will be further enhancing this capability and providing more contextual information about what's in those documents and exposing them to the viewer. More to come. Okay, Relativity Analytics. Relativity Analytics, very powerful tool to help you organize data, discover the truth. And it's a collection of text analysis and machine learning AI tools deeply embedded in relativity. And the use The use of machine learning and AI in enterprise apps is now mainstream, with almost every major vendor in this space now touting these capabilities. And we've had these capabilities embedded in Relativity since 2008, and we've been working hard to make the use of Relativity Analytics ubiquitous by making it easy to use and easy to understand. And our goals for Relativity Analytics are, one is we want to provide you with a complete, diverse set of capabilities that can be used in many ways. 2, have them be flexible enough to be used on any project. And 3, provide a simple but powerful set of data visualization tools to understand what the engine is doing and allow you to get more with the results, to ultimately amplify your review efforts so you can discover the truth more quickly, get through the review faster, ultimately producing the best outcomes and saving our clients a ton of money. We've done a lot of work this year to further mature these capabilities, and this, along with the work that you have been doing to advocate this technology, has our community at a special tipping point. Check this out. So when our customers buy Relativity Analytics, there's 3 ways they can do it. 1 is they can buy a la carte, so when they use it, they pay like a per gig burst fee. 2, you can buy a consumption-based package. I'm gonna do 4 terabytes, and then you consume it as you go along. And then 3, you can add it to your user subscription, effectively making it unlimited or all you can eat. Now, the tipping point is that almost half of our users are now on the unlimited subscription. And what we see is that when customers are on the unlimited subscription, they will incorporate the use of Relativity Analytics on every single matter, no matter how big or how small. This is powerful and exciting, and we see the consumption. You have been leveraging the technology in earnest this year, and we've seen great use of it. We've now almost ingested close to a petabyte of data through the engine, over 3 billion documents, and you have amazing stories in how you're using the technology. Stroh's-Freeburg, they were asked to see if they can identify instances of plagiarism and prove trade secrets were stolen. And using the techniques in Relativity Analytics, they could uncover the similarities in the phrases. And then when they showed up for deposition with a half dozen of source documents and the smoking gun, it greatly improved their pre-trial position. I have so many of these stories with analytics. Dumped on a bunch of information, I got a little time, smoking gun, great outcome. This is what we exist to do as legal teams, except if you're on the other side. You've told us that you love the technology, that you love the integration, and that you love how we've exposed the results in Relativity. And of course, you've told us that we can get better. You've asked it to make it easier to set up analytics indexes, and so we set out to automate and simplify the setup of running analytics jobs. You've asked us to create more ways to visualize clusters. You've asked us to further improve email threading and thread visualization so we can make it more powerful and useful. You've asked us to incorporate new methodologies in relativity-assisted review. Specifically, you asked for active learning, and this is what we set out to do in 2017. Structured analytics is now easier to set up. You can now run multiple analytics jobs and store the results in your workspace. For email threading, we've added support for French email headers with German and Chinese coming by the end of the year. And in the beginning of the year, Japanese, Korean, and Portuguese in early next year. Yes, I love it when people cheer for this type of stuff. Email headers. Woo! We've simplified the index build process, and we've created like new APIs that allow you to programmatically manage Relativity Analytics. We've introduced new visualizations. When we first introduced cluster visualization is with the circle pack, and you've told us that you don't really like the circle pack. You know, you just found it a little bit too geeky. And what you've asked is hey, can you introduce this wheel or this sunburst or whatever? And so we've done, and we call it the dial. And so this is it. And so the dial will display all the data up front, and it's easy to see every cluster and its relation to each other, and it's all color-coded, so it's making it easy what colors here. It's readable, the labels don't clash with each other. And the sizing of the elements, really do a good job of representing the size of the cluster that the circle pack didn't give you. And it looks pretty cool, and it's easy to operate, and our clients really, really like it. And whatever you want to call it the dial, you want to call it the sunburst, you want to call it the wheel, whatever you want to call it, we give you this, we give you the circle back, we give you nearby cluster viz, whatever you want, because we want to give you options and the best tools to interrogate your data. Go check it out in the labs. Now, some of the most exciting work that we've done this year is with relativity-assisted reviews. Our customers have been seeing success with RAR for years, and they have amazing stories to how they're getting great outcomes with it. Another example, dumped with a ton of documents using RAR and a bunch of our technologies, moving 30 times faster, and we develop a very compelling narrative to support our position. Great story from innovative discovery. We continue to do this. We see this over and over and over again with the technology. It's amazing. Now, what you told us when it comes to relativity-assisted review that we can do better, and that our technology isn't keeping up to date with the latest TAR approaches. And you've told us that you wanted active learning, and you gave us a set of requirements that we had to hit. First is that you wanted to just, I want to review as fewer documents possible to get to the good stuff. 2, make it super easy to get started because classic RAR requires a lot of steps. And then 3, keep it flexible. Keep it flexible because this is what we really love about relativity, to be able to incorporate this technology wherever we want. So in 2017, we finally set out and make the moves to build it for you. And with your feedback and collaboration, together, we designed and built something that's really exciting. And that's relativity-assisted review with active learning. First and foremost, it's fully integrated, right? No need to move data between systems, right? Like it's baked into relativity, and so as soon as you've processed and loaded data into relativity, you can get going. And if you find the documents with RAR, it's all within the same system. Second, it's real-time intelligent. Our engine keeps a pulse on the coding decisions in real time, and so as it understands what is responsive, the whole review gets smarter. The engine doesn't work in batches, and it continually learns and calibrates based on all the coding decisions. Third, it's flexible. Different projects require different type of techniques. Know exactly what you're looking for? Well, execute it, teach the engine to hone in on those type of documents. You don't know just yet? Have it cast a wider net as you're still developing and trying to understand the merits of the matter. And then finally, it's fast and efficient. It's super easy to set up and get going. Once the data is loaded into relativity, you can start a project literally in minutes. And reviewers can jump in and get started right away, and it requires very little administrative support to get started. Dan, let us show you how it works.
Cool. All right, so active learning. Needed to be easy to set up.
Easy to set up.
Making a project is super quick, super easy. We give it a name, we select an index, we pick a responsive field, we select which value means responsive, and we pick a group of reviewers. That's it.
That's it.
So here's our project really soon after starting. We've got high-level numbers across the top. I had about 19,000 docs in the index we've selected, and we've coded a handful of docs, some responsive, some not responsive. And based on that coding, we've got a chart below which shows us relativity's current understanding of responsiveness. We're early on, and we haven't done much to train the engine yet, so we've got a bunch of documents right in the middle of the range. It's around 50. So it might be responsive, might not, 50-50. As relativity learns more about our documents, we'll see non-responsive documents move towards the left, responsive documents move towards the right. Relativity is going to build that understanding based on the decision of experienced reviewers. So let's add a couple reviewers to the project, and then start the review. So we'll switch over and take a look at what it looks like for a reviewer. For me as a reviewer, there's no special setup. I just go in, I select a view, and I've got a notification across the top saying, hey, you've got some documents to review. Dead simple.
It's like pulling a batch out.
That's it. Just start review. So I've got this notification. I'm just going to click Start Review. And then for me, all I do is go in and code documents. I don't have to worry about checking batches in and out, selecting rounds, what type of round I'm looking at. All I do is apply my expertise. This document's responsive.
The dynamic queue is speeding up the responsive documents as we go along, yep.
Right, and Relativity is just giving us the most responsive documents that it can find. So the system is going to learn really quickly as I make those decisions as a reviewer. But if we've got some knowledge of the case, we can use it to jumpstart the engine. So here's a document in Word. It's not a discovery document, right? It's something the case team cooked up. It's a summary of the case. So we can select this text, jump over to Relativity, and run a concept search against the content of this document. So, I mean, since this document's built with the key concepts of the case, we run a concept search against it, it's likely to be highly responsive.
Great example of using multiple technologies to facilitate a workflow. Yep.
You got it.
Cool.
Yeah, so from here, we can jump and review, confirming that these are indeed responsive documents. And we'll be feeding the engine a bunch of highly responsive documents to really quickly, helping Relativity understand responsiveness sooner. It's just one way that you can jumpstart the engine, but look, it's Relativity, right? Totally flexible. You can use search term reports, clustering, dashboards, like whatever, you name it.
Yes.
So again, our reviewers can just go doc to doc. You can jumpstart the engine by feeding responsive docs, but either way, Relativity is going to continue to serve up the most responsive documents it can find. And our review progress chart on the bottom shows us how it's going. And it's reporting the percentage of responsive documents found every 100 documents. So early on, left-hand side of the chart, about 80% of the documents we saw were responsive. But as that review progresses, there are fewer and fewer responsive documents for Relativity to serve up. So as you can see, as the far right end of the chart, we're towards the end of the project, and we're down closer to 0. And our graph shifts to represent that. The middle is now cleared out, meaning Relativity has a much better understanding of what responsiveness means. More non-responsive documents have moved towards the left, responsive documents have moved towards the right.
Cool.
Yeah, so we've scratched the surface here. There's a ton to learn about this. You can check this out in the labs.
Labs, sessions.
And there's a assisted review session right after this at 11. If you want to go check it out, ask the experts.
Cool.
Cool.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, there you have it. The next version of Relativity Assisted Review, sample-based learning, active-based learning. Fully integrated with our complete suite of technologies, giving you the most tools to do the work that you need to do. And we hope that you get great and amazing outcomes with it. Speaking of amazing stories, I want to bring up Ben Borden. Bennett is a partner over at Drinker Biddle, and he's been using Relativity and Relativity Analytics with much success. So let's bring him up and tell us his story. Hey, how you doing? You have to stand in the box.
I know, they told me the box.
The box. Okay, Bennett, you lead the data analytics practice at Drinker, and you also have a unique business analyst and technology background. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. You know, I come at the law with a unique perspective. I come out of the intelligence community, and so was trained in this idea of understanding human conduct based on the digital trail that we leave. My graduate work in data analytics, and then my work in the law, of course. And so my whole point is trying to figure out what happened and why, and maybe predict what will happen based on the digital trail we leave.
And so how are you using analytics as a tool to amplify what you do?
So if you think about what we do as lawyers, our fundamental product is information. It doesn't matter if you're a litigator or an investigator, M&A, due diligence, bankruptcy, we are always looking for information as our raw material, and we are putting out information as our product. And so being able to get at the facts faster and more accurately makes us better lawyers. And so the whole point of analytics is how it amplifies our investigative abilities. When I reach into data, it is empowering. It's like putting on a super suit. We tell our partners all the time that analytics is like an Iron Man suit, right? That you're reaching in, and everything that we do, it expands our reach and clarifies it.
Ah, got it. So you're like interrogating the data.
Exactly.
What I love about this story, guys, is that you know, I've had this riff when I talk to attorneys, because, you know, like if you talk to a litigator and if you ask he or she, like, what makes them a great litigator, they probably say all these things, you know, like, I understand the law really well, right? Like, I am a bulldog, and you know what, like, I am a professional interrogator. You give me at that deposition, and I am going to ask a string of questions to get to the truth. But when it comes to interrogating a corpus of 100,000 emails, it's like, I'll have someone else do that.
That's what's crazy to me, right? Because
Like,
we think that we're good at interrogating people, but we have reflections of people based in data that they've left behind. And the more data that we have, as we do in the information age, we have more accurate and granular reflections of that person. And so we all know sitting down in front of a person and asking them questions is, frankly, the least reliable source of information. If you can get into their data and walk the trail that they have walked, you can actually find out with certainty what happened and why, and that gives you tremendous strategic advantages.
Yeah. So Bennett has been working with us for a really long time, and he's had like a love-hate relationship with our product, and he's told me that it's been awful, and he never wants to use it again. To like, oh, this is actually pretty good. So now like you're up on stage, right? Like, so you've got a long history with our product and analytics. What do you think?
This is the tool we use most often in our shop. I had my guys run some analytics, and we've reviewed more than 50 million documents this year in Relativity.
Wow, awesome. All right, let's talk about a case that we want to highlight. This whistleblower case. Like, so what are your customers looking for when they hire you for a case like this?
So, litigation, frankly, is fairly easy. It usually has a long period of time. You have some time to figure out what happened and why, which is the point of litigation, who did what when and whose fault it is. But when it comes to investigations, time is everything, and certainty is everything. Litigation has some risk to it, but especially large public companies, they face different kinds of challenges when it comes to investigations. And so in this case, a senior executive was being asked to leave, and on the way out the door made a fairly serious allegation about an accounting error. And this was 3 weeks before financial reporting. There were auditors on site, an army of auditors on site, and this would have greatly affected not only that reporting period, but many prior with significant SEC regulatory
Stock prices love scandals.
They do. And so we had to get at an answer very quickly. And so we had 1 million emails that we looked at really within just a matter of days. And this was a very interesting case because it turned out that this senior executive knew he was probably going to leave, and so had spent a year creating a false basis for this whistleblower claim, looking for a better severance or a settlement to negotiate on his way out the door.
Wow.
So we had conflicting evidence, and this guy had gone back and doctored agendas and meeting minutes and had actually colluded with an outsider to doctor this evidence. And so it was trying to weave through that story was quite complex. But within 3 days, we absolutely knew what happened and why this was a fabricated story. And so not only could the client act with certainty regarding this guy, but we were able to wave off the auditor as well, who wanted to do their own independent investigation. We showed them the evidence, and it shut down that investigation. The filing went forward, and we were able to close this case in a week.
Oh my gosh, amazing story, great outcome. Hey, so you've been testing the active learning RAR. What do you think?
So this is a great development for you guys. If you think what active learning is, it is the ultimate expansion of a decision by a reviewer. And we don't review documents, we develop facts. And so if that's what we're doing, right, then reaching in and finding those facts faster, active learning is a way to greatly increase the pace at which we apply my understanding to the data. Where we have it rolled out and we're looking at it now and look forward to see what you do.
Cool. Before we go, tell us about this predictive compliance thing that you guys are cooking up.
So we love to call this Minority Report, but they won't let me call it Minority Report. Apparently somebody's taken that. And but
trademarked.
We look back in time all the time to figure out what happened and why. And yet in data science, we have the ability to predict human conduct with an amazing degree of certainty. Well, if we can predict human conduct, why can't we predict human misconduct? And so using the core of relativity with a bunch of secret sauce that my data science monster drinking hacker kids have developed, we're actually predicting bad guys before they actually act. And that has an immense effect on our clients.
Wow, that's amazing. Amazing story. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Let's please give Bennett a round of applause. Amazing story about the power of analytics. Thank you, Bennett. Okay. I'm excited about the technology. It's all in the labs. Go check it out. Okay, so we've used review to find our responsive documents, and now it's time to produce. Let's talk about the work that we've done in relativity imaging and productions. So number one, our goal with relativity imaging and productions is simple. We want you to be able to run any production job out of relativity. It needs to scale, it needs to be fast, and handle the demands of the biggest and nastiest productions, because this is what our customers do. They handle these projects. Imaging and productions are mature functions in relativity, but our customers had challenges using it at scale. Imaging jobs would crash, and super large productions wouldn't run easily. And so we set out to fix this in 2017. And some of the work that we've done here is just basically, you can now kick off imaging sets with millions of documents in it, and it just runs, and the same thing on productions. You can rely on this technology, and our customers have had amazing stories with it. Here's H5. They basically produce 32 million pages, 5.5 million documents in days, all using relativity, imaging, and productions. Great progress that we've made here. Going to production is stressful. It's stressful, and this is when our customers are really under the gun, and we want our customers to trust our system, no matter how big the job is or how tight the timeline. Okay, we've run the production, and now our legal teams are getting ready for deposition and potentially trial. And let's drill into the tools that we have helped to organize the knowledge of the legal teams and make sure that we're all really well prepared to advocate our position. I thought you told us that you want better tools for managing this part of the matter. That you told us that we have a huge opportunity to add so much more value since so much time is spent focusing on case strategy and preparation and not discovery. And so, what do we think of when we think of a case strategy and preparation tool? Well, it's a place where you can file your pleadings and correspondence so they're easily searched and accessed. It's a place to track all the key players and the facts and the chronology and the key issues. It's a place to track your interviews and the findings from, and we got depots to get ready from, and so we want to track that stuff and all the associated exhibits. And so, we have, you could do a lot of this stuff with Relativity. You could do it with Relativity Fact Manager, and Fact Manager allows you to create a central repository of the facts and issues and people and all those interview questions, and once it's structured in a database, you can do more with it, report on it, present it in a structured timeline, and even have the ability to create linked outlines of all your documents and your facts as you pound out your narrative. I can tell you, groups who have been using Fact Manager love it, and some of our most fanatical end users are huge advocates. And we love hearing the amazing stories that you have with the technology and how it's helping you produce great outcomes. Amazing story. So you got Deloitte. They're running a multinational investigation. They have 20 team members, 50 terabytes of data, and they're using Fact Manager to centralize their entire investigation. Team can access it worldwide, have real-time access to all the materials, better working knowledge across the entire team, and keeping all the documents and all these facts and issues within Fact Manager. It removed a bunch of unnecessary workflow steps as they were doing things in different tools. And now they complete interviews 4 times faster, and they can really easily revisit case information at any point when they need it. Amazing story. In 2017, we set out to address many of the requests you had in making the product better. We introduced the case outline tools that allows you to naturally build your case strategy as a narrative so you can think like a person and not a database. You have the ability to upload files straight from your desktop, and we just made it significantly faster. Now, you told us that the biggest opportunity to add more value with Relativity as it relates to a case strategy and preparation tool is to give you a better tool to manage transcripts. Having one platform for pleadings, documents, productions, exhibits, and transcripts is key for an effective preparation of a matter. This is the missing piece we've been waiting for. It would be a significant benefit for our users who continually seek more efficiencies. And so we have a transcript tool in Relativity. Who here has tried it? It's really bad. Actually, it's terrible and it's not really usable. And so we set out to build a better and a more robust one. And we want to effectively, make it easy to add transcripts by dragging, dropping them into the system, do all the stuff that a good transcript management tool should do, search, annotate, be able to identify key passages, link to key information, be able to link to the discovery documents, the exhibits, all those facts and issues that you've put into Fact Manager, and so it's all integrated. Our ultimate goal is to be your transcript management tool. The product is still in development, but let us give you a sneak peek and show you how it works. Demo Dan.
Andrew Saja. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. We got a brand new case. all I've got is my complaint. I'm going to use this complaint to start building out my case strategy. Rather than leaving it in some document management system somewhere, I'm going to get it into Relativity so my team can start collaborating.
Cool.
So I can copy and all the text of this into a blank outline in Fact Manager.
Ah, and it just worked.
Yeah,
Like
really
copy
easy
and
to
paste, the text didn't get all mangled or anything.
No, it's everything you'd expect from a modern text editor. But what's cool about this is I can also now use this, start building out my library of people, facts, organization, linking all that content together.
Ah.
So, for example, right in our first line here, we've got the first person of the case. So all I need to do is select the name, right-click. So now we've added Reginald as a person. You can see his name is now linked in the outline.
Okay.
We can do the same thing to create other objects like facts. So select a fact text, right-click. I can add dates now, or I can just add it later, continue going through, building out my outline using this right-click.
Okay.
So we'll keep working through this complaint, build out the outline throughout the discovery process. And by doing that, we've got this great centralized repository of the key facts of the case.
Start like a person, think like a database.
That's right.
No.
And it's really easy to edit this
Think
stuff.
like a person, act like a database. Yeah.
Said this right automatically. It's really easy to just right-click into this line, edit stuff on the fly. We don't have to go into a separate layout. Really easy to work with, and we can do this with anything in Fact Manager: issues, peoples, interview questions, any other custom stuff that we want to track, right? And so we can use Fact Manager now to generate some really great reports like this fact timeline. So we work with this timeline here in Relativity, or we can export it out as an interactive offline version. And we'll use Fact Manager as our team's hub for case strategy as we prep for depositions. As depositions complete, we can add transcripts to Relativity. It's really easy, just drag and drop into Relativity. We've got some configuration options if formatting gets a little funky, but often I can just drag, drop, and go. And here's the new transcript in the viewer. As I work with the transcript, I can do all kinds of stuff. I can add notes about specific sections, which are highlighted for my team to see.
Got it.
I can link to my Fact Manager items, like people, facts, and issues. We've got this special Fact Manager coding pane on the right-hand side here. I can even grab follow-up questions for later depositions. Everything's tracked in Relativity. This kind of brings it home, I think. So here in the text, we've got a follow-up question about a little answer in this deposition right in line. And it's about whether or not somebody else knew about Exhibit 3.
Sure.
So we've got Exhibit 4. Exhibit 4 is in Relativity. The transcript is in Relativity. All the people working on case strategy are in Relativity. And everything is tracked back. So if later on we're looking at our big list of interview questions and we need to know who else is involved with the exhibit, it's going to link right back to this spot in the transcript. So rather than having this big, messy web of a bunch of different systems, like that question itself could end up in email, somebody's Evernote, a legal pad, anywhere,
Whatever,
right?
yes.
So you're going to have a lot of people spending a ton of time managing all this chaos, and it's really frustrating, right? So instead, we can bring it all together in one connected platform and allows people to spend their time on what's important.
Yes, and that's producing great outcomes.
That's right.
Thank you, Dan Miller. There you have it. Discovery, case strategy, and preparation and transcript management, all in a single platform. And I've learned that the most value that this technology can provide is not after the production is done, but when it's used prior to even when discovery starts. Let me elaborate. This is Renee Lawrence. Renee is one of our product managers, and I love working with him. And prior to coming to Relativity, he spent close to 10 years at law firms supporting litigators. He is a Relativity guru. His enthusiasm for this product is infectious. And when you ask his opinion on something, he'll just go on these beautiful rants, and they're brilliant. And in prepping for this keynote, I asked him to come to my office and share with me why he loves Fact Manager. And he went on his rants, and let me try to summarize what he told me. That he loves Fact Manager so much because it reminds him of his favorite partner that he used to work with. That this partner would start all of his cases by organizing his learnings in a case strategy tool. And this partner was a huge advocate because he thought if he did this right, the rest of the discovery process would just flow. And the tool forced a process and methodology to think through the case and made sure he didn't miss anything. He would know what's important, who is key, what questions to ask right up front, where to look for documents and evidence. And when key documents were presented to him, he wasn't surprised. And according to Renee, he says lawyers hate to be surprised. The tool helped him be a better litigator and lawyer. Great story. Go explore Fact Manager at these sessions and workshops at Fest this week. So we've made a tremendous amount of progress across our entire product portfolio. And we've made a ton of progress with Relativity One. So we announced our plans to deliver a SaaS version of Relativity early in 2016, and we finally launched in February this year. And after a few months in the market, we have made some great progress. We now have 14 customers with multi-year subscriptions on the platform, and they've subscribed to close to 300 terabytes of data. We have over 1,100 enabled users, close to 4,000 workspaces, 500 million documents, and have successfully ran large matters out of the environment. We've implemented over 250 operational controls around the environment and have achieved our ISO 27001 certification. We've launched in the UK and have customers operating out of the region. What a ride, and we're so thankful to all of our customers and partners who are working with us this year as we took the product to market and developed it into a world-class SaaS e-discovery platform. And I want to thank our Relativity One certified partners for building a strong offering on the platform. And for those of you on the audience who are interested in Relativity One or what you saw today, contact one of these guys, and they'll be more than happy to work with you. There is a tremendous amount of interest in Relativity One, and it's because of the benefits. This is not a lightweight version of Relativity. This is the same flexible and scalable and fully featured product that you love. It's current, never have to upgrade ever again, get access to the latest innovations. It has the full stack up and running and ready to go. It's open. Execute your Relativity scripts, build and deploy your apps and event handlers, connect directly to SQL. It operates automatically, eliminating the time and cost with operating a complex Relativity infrastructure. It's secure. It's global with future support in over 40 data centers worldwide. It grows with Azure. As Microsoft makes Azure better, faster, stronger, and more secure, well, so does Relativity One. It's scalable and fast. We're getting great speeds in the environment. And finally, it's economical. And if you take this into perspective, you compare what you get with Relativity One and what one would need to do to get the same product, it's a good value and saves you the headache and gives you peace of mind. This product, Relativity One, is the most important development in our company's history. It's important to the company, no doubt. But the real potential with Relativity One, in my opinion, is that it has the promise to unlock the creativity of this entire community. Think about it. Think about when you were watching the keynote and maybe you thought, wow, that's great, but knowing that you won't be able to take advantage of it because your upgrade is planned for next year. Think about not having to say no to a case or have to slow down a project because your infrastructure just couldn't keep up. Think about the discussions that you might be having with your customers and your clients about keeping their data secure and having the peace of mind that you have with us and Microsoft running behind you. Think about the amount of time and energy that goes into planning upgrades, operating your environment, wrestling performance issues. You won't need to do that anymore. And with all this new free time, what will you do? You will innovate. You'll do more work for your clients. You'll solve more interesting problems for your clients. This, I know. Think about it. I have two amazing stories that I want to share with you on Relativity One and the impact Relativity One is having on our customers and their ability to do more and innovate. The first is with J&D. Scott, please join me on stage. I love your bow tie.
Thank you.
Such a good-looking man. Thanks for joining us today, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. So you run the e-discovery practice at J&D, and you've been in this space quite a while. Can you tell us a little bit about J&D?
Sure. J&D is a company formed with Jennifer Keogh, Neil Zola, and David Isaac, some visionaries from the legal administration space. They acquired my company, an e-discovery company, been around for roughly a decade. In 2016, I decided to stay on and run the e-discovery practice.
Cool, awesome. So I know. Tell us about how you decided to bring on Relativity One, because the first time I met you was after Keynote, and it wasn't like a friendly conversation.
No, it wasn't a friendly conversation. The keynote last year I got up and walked out of.
Yes.
I was very upset with the idea of Relativity One, running a very large infrastructure as a partner of yours and having customers where we're managing our own environment. We left here, our team went and had dinner at a restaurant up the street, and as we sat around and talked about it, as we were kind of ranting on what was going on with Relativity One and your crazy idea, we kind of thought for a second, maybe we're missing out on something. Maybe this is the next evolution of where we're going as a community and as a e-discovery group. And so we strategized about it, and I remembered a book that I had read called Crossing the Chasm, which is how software is adopted in the world. You need people to get across the chasm to tell everybody to come over here to use the software. And I saw us as having that opportunity to be the person that crosses first.
Cool. Cool. I remember like sitting with you at the couch right in the pavilion for about an hour and a half, talking through about all through the details. Cool. So you're up online. How's it going?
It's going really well. We couldn't have done it without the Relativity One team. The support that we've had from the team here in Chicago, everybody in the fishbowl down at the office, we've been able to do some amazing things. We've had direct interaction with them, and quite honestly, we're pretty proud to say that today we are 100% cloud-based in Relativity One.
Wow, cool. And it took you, what, like a couple months, 90 days?
Roughly 90 days.
90 days to migrate all that data to the cloud? Cool. I think it's a bunch of K-Cura people who muscled through this. So for me, you're doing some great work. You got these pharmaceutical matters. You can see the numbers here. We're doing they're big projects, heavy-duty work, great success for our clients. We're getting repeat business out of there. My favorite story is you guys cooked up this new value-add IP in this analytics thing called Layer Cake. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so from our pharmaceutical matters, we were able to implement some workflows in our own relativity environment, and we saw that this would be an ability to speed up the analytics process.
Yeah.
So our team, headed by Ben Sexton, was able to develop an idea that we now took to build on top of the Relativity One platform, and we call it Layer Cake. And what we're doing is we're allowing all of the different analytic processes to talk to one another in one spot.
Yeah.
So if you think about running clustering, concept searching, assisted keyword generation, whatever you're doing, all of those would report in a silo. Layer Cake allows them to come together as one, and now you can see the results across all of them in one spot.
Yes, and so when you have, in the pharmaceutical space, when you're doing with often a rich set of responsive documents by traditional techniques, having being able to layer these together and say, hey, I want everything that hits across these 14 or the top 10. Right.
It's amazing. We were able to save one of our clients using this technology $2.5 million on their review.
Awesome. Great example of a win with Relativity. Great example of innovating on top of the platform. Scott, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I love it. J&D taking on big projects, big clients, innovating in special ways, creating more value for their offering, and ultimately generating an amazing outcome for their client. The second amazing story that I want to share with you is with FTI. FTI earlier this year made a decision to bring Relativity as another platform for their consulting practice and decided to launch with Relativity One. Let's hear their story. Wendy and Darrow, please join me on stage. Hey. Okay.
In the square.
No, this is good. Stay within the box.
We're in the box.
You're on the edge. You would have fell off the stage.
Okay.
Tell us about FTI. Why do people hire you for the big and nasty stuff?
It really just starts with the people who just have decades of experience handling. I think I love your term, most heinous. Some of the most heinous matters out there. We do it across multiple industries, and we have to do it all over the world. And we've taken a lot of that experience, and we've really standardized and created global playbooks. We've developed our own technologies, as well as really tried to innovate for our clients. And that's really why I think people come to us, and why we're really humbled to really handle some of their bet the company stuff.
Cool. And so you guys decided to bring Relativity. Let's talk about why'd you guys decide to bring Relativity?
It really is about those Friday afternoon calls. The calls that you get right when you're about to close the laptop off and head off, but it's usually a call from a client that basically says, hey, we need to start collections, we need you to be in these countries, we need you to start review like Monday.
Cool.
So in the past, we've really struggled with that because we obviously will say yes, but then weekends are ruined across the organization as we get prepared for that. What Relativity One really gave us was the elasticity and flexibility to really expand. And
Take
do
that
those-
case, say yes,
Yes.
boom.
And do it, have the weekend, rest up before the big matter,
Yeah.
and really allow us to focus on what we do best, which is really providing innovative solutions to our clients.
Cool. So we've been talking with each other for close to a year. We finally got agreed to you guys finally decided to work with us. We thank you. And then it was like, all right, are we going to build things worldwide, or we're just going to do Relativity One? Something came up. You guys tried Relativity One. It's working really well. Tell us about some of the success that you have, and specifically with this second request.
Yeah, it's working incredibly well.
Yep.
I mean, when you're dealing with your clients, the things you don't want to have to focus on is the software stable? Is it scalable? And is it well supported? And I can say with Relativity One, all those things are more than true. And so before we talk about this, though, I do want to say a huge thank you, very heartfelt, for the customer success team, the entire Relativity support. They have really been a whatever, whenever approach. It doesn't matter if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't matter if it's Friday at 3 o'clock, maybe it is messing with their weekends and we're sitting at home enjoying ours. It's been terrific, and it's allowed us to focus on what we do best, which is to provide a solution for our clients. We went at light speed, so we didn't start small. We've got a second request in Relativity One right now. We have several other projects of the same size and scale in Relativity One, and they've all gone incredibly well. One of our biggest concerns was productions.
Yeah.
You mentioned productions earlier. We've all seen the pain points of the production. Sometimes it didn't go so well. We were able to produce a 1 million-page production in less than a week.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a concern. We didn't even have a hiccup.
Boom,
so
off
it's
it
been
goes.
phenomenal.
Use the high-speed stuff to bring it down.
Yeah.
There we go. Awesome. We've only been working together for it's just weeks, and we've already seen a tremendous amount of success. I got to tell you what.
I don't know where you've been working.
That is your dirty mind, not mine. This is me just being nervous. That is your dirty mind. Let me tell you.
I have no idea.
Let me tell you why I am excited about partnering with FTI. You're a huge team. You've been in the business for a long time. You have more than 4,000 global consultants in 30 countries and handling some of the biggest and most challenging projects we see, and are already starting to see great success with Relativity One on big, important matters. And I think working with you guys and our vision with Relativity One and these 36, your global footprint, the 36 Microsoft Azure regions that we're going to expand in, it's going to be exciting what we're going to do together for our collective clients. Thank you for trusting us and bringing Relativity on one of the
Thank you
one of
for
your
your
tools
partnership.
to service your clients. Thank you.
Wait, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Dirty minds. Thank you, Daryl and Wendy. Again, I'm very proud and privileged to partner with FTI and look forward to working with you guys for many, many years in the future. Great stories. Telling you, it has the promise to unlock the creativity of this entire community. See what Scott and his team has been doing. It's going to happen all over the place. As soon as we stop thinking about infrastructure and we think about innovating for our clients in unique ways. I know this, and I'm excited to hear future stories as our customers move to the cloud. So I want to take a moment to talk about security. And it's really crazy out there, and you can feel it almost every single day. You probably get a phishing email once or twice a day. And in the news, it seems like every week there's a crazy security breach that's compromising companies. And you've told us that security is your number one concern, and you want us to do all we can to help you protect yours and your customers' data. and security is important at Relativity. And we have a comprehensive security program that we've branded Relativity Trust. And we approach security across two concerns. One is with the Relativity Core product. Second is with Relativity One. The Relativity Core product has two dimensions. First is how we design and build the software. Second is the actual functionality in the product itself. When we design and build our software, security is embedded in our software development lifecycle from day one. We do an in-depth risk analysis before we build any features. We do code reviews, ensure that third-party components that we embed go through a thorough review. And then finally, we run penetration tests by our internal team and through vetted third parties on a regular basis. Our product itself has much functionality that's focused on security. We have object and attribute permissions embedded deeply into the application core. You can configure your system to support encryption at rest and encryption in transit. Relativity Authentication has enterprise-class functionality and supports two-factor authentication. You can plug into single sign-on systems that support OpenID Connect and SAML. We audit everything, and we're making it easier to get to all those audits with the data grid. Relativity One has two dimensions as well. First is our compute and architecture, and second is the offering and the operations around it. Our compute infrastructure is built on Azure, and Azure has the most compliance coverage of any cloud provider with over 50 industry certifications. And our infrastructure runs on Azure and is designed to keep each customer in a sandboxed and partitioned network, keeping data and compute isolated. And then finally, it's how we operate Relativity One itself. Our information security program is based on NIST standards, and we have over 250 controls around the environment. We have strong processes and systems that generate evidence around all controls, including access, patch management, vulnerabilities, risk management, malware prevention. And then we have this customer lockbox feature that ensures that our support and administrative teams don't have access to your data without you giving specific permissions to get to it for troubleshooting reasons. And then finally, we've certified our entire offering to be ISO 27001 compliant, the global gold standard in information security, with the scope of our program being everything here, and not just the small part, everything here, on how we design, build, and operate Relativity and Relativity One. Trust is our comprehensive security program, and we're making huge investments to Trust to add to it and to improve to our controls, to reduce the identified risks in our program and achieve more industry certifications. We really want you to have the peace of mind that we're doing everything that we can to protect yours and your customers' data. So I want to take a moment to talk about two-factor authentication. If you're using Relativity's username and password system, two-factor authentication is easy to set up and use. You have it connected, it works like any other two-factor system. You log into your instance, you type in your username and password, Relativity sends a code to your phone via text message, you enter the code into the login process, you successfully log in. Why use it? Well, if your password gets compromised for any reason, you have that second factor, which is your phone, and your phone should be physically with you at all times. Passwords get compromised. It's because people do dumb stuff, like write them down and don't keep them safe. It's because people have shared passwords. They don't change them frequently, and then a mega system gets hacked, and then hundreds of millions of passwords get exposed. It's because people get phished. Phishing, it happens, and the phishers are getting more sophisticated. It happens. And everyone should be using two-factor, just like everyone should wear a seatbelt when you get in a car. But we don't, for whatever reasons. And it's most likely because of convenience. It's extra work, and it slows us down. And we feel it, especially in our industry, because e-discovery is so fast-moving. So there was one Saturday morning, I was reading the news, and I was reading the news about a breach, and the source was through a phish, and two-factor would have prevented it. And it really got me concerned because, you know what, I know that so many of our customers are not using two-factor or integrating with a single sign-on system like Okta. And by the way, we're an Okta client. I love it. I highly recommend it. One of the smartest things that you can do for your firm is implement a system like Okta. Totally worth the money. Okay. It got me concerned because I know for so many of our customers, they're not using two-factor or integrating with a single sign-on system like Okta. I got to tell you guys, when you have like your personal like banking system and you don't use two-factor, that is your decision on how you want to protect your own data. And if your password gets compromised and someone gets into your bank account, so be it. Something a little bit different here. If you're using a shared password, if you're not using, some type of two-factor with your relativity data, it's not your data. This is other people's data. This is other people's email. This is personal stuff. It's sensitive stuff. Maybe it's not all business. We really owe it to these people to do whatever we can to protect their data. And so I'm thinking, like, hey, we need to do something we can make it easier and more convenient. And I've used two-factor systems through mobile apps, and it works really well. And what if we did the same for relativity? And I got super excited about the idea, and I called up Nick Robertson and I floated it to him. I'm like, hey man, what do you think if we build a two-factor authentication application for relativity? He's like, well, maybe we should dig into it. I'm like, we're gonna build it. It's simple how it works. You log into your instance with your username and password. Relativity sends you a push notification to your phone. You click approve on your phone, it successfully logs you in, significantly reducing the friction to leverage two-factor authentication. It's slick and it will be available in a few months, along with direct support for other two-factor systems like Google Authenticator coming soon. So another challenge as relates to securing our customers' data is the multiple copies of it we make, especially when we try to collaborate. And it all centers around convenience. Say there's this hot document that the partner at the firm is asking for. You send them a link to Relativity, and they ask you to send them a collection of PDFs instead. There are all kinds of reasons why they ask for it this way, and a big one is probably the primary one, and that is convenience. It is just easier. Send the docs as PDF, it shows up, it's easy to open, you don't have to authenticate another system, you get what you need, and then you delete it. Now, the problem with this is as soon as you do that, we immediately create multiple copies of that hot document. You have the copy in Relativity, you have the PDF that's on the desktop, you have the PDF that sits in the email from who's sending it, and then from the recipient. We've gone from having one copy of the data to now 4. It's not very secure. It's not a very responsible way to treat our customers' data. But we do this all the time because you know what? It's convenient. And so, we're working on giving you a better solution, and that's with Relativity Mobile. Relativity Mobile is an iPhone and iPad application that allows you to get easy access to all your data in Relativity. It's easy to use. You can wrap it in your mobile device management system like AirWatch and Mobile Iron, and it could take advantage of Touch ID, so you can easily log in and get access to those documents. And a big part of what we're trying to accomplish with Relativity Mobile is to make it super convenient to securely share data with Relativity so that there's only one copy of that file. And we're doing this with a new capability that we call Share Notifications. Let me show you how it works. Play the video, please. How cool is that? Security through convenience. Both auth and share notifications will be available early next year. Single platform, processing through production, rich case strategy and prep tools, integrated transcript management, one copy of that data, accessible through mobile, security through convenience, a single technology platform that serves the needs across all of our constituents, on-prem or in the cloud. Now, the single platform enables parties to be more productive and move quickly, but we have an opportunity to do so much more. We have the opportunity to create that interconnected e-discovery mesh where identity spans across instances. Instances can connect to one another, and relativity can connect directly with key sources of enterprise data. And our goal is to help simplify the user experience and make it easy to transfer data worldwide. When we connect relativity to everything, we're going to simplify and reduce the risk of one of the most common actions we do in this industry, and that is exchange data. Let's set up the opportunity. We have a lot of people using the software. And one of the main strengths of the Relativity platform is the multimodal deployment model. And our customers have many ways of deploying Relativity. On-premises, appliances, partner-hosted, cloud with Relativity One. This multimodal deployment model gives our customers the ultimate in flexibility and control. And you guys are running Relativity on over 800 instances in 43 countries. These groups are not working in isolation. In fact, they are working for the same clients, sometimes on the same matters, sometimes they are co-counsel, and sometimes they are adversaries. One thing that we do know is that there's a ton of cross-party collaboration and data exchange. And before we get into seamless data exchange, let's try to solve a much simpler issue, and that's with having access to multiple instances. Raise your hand if you're using Relativity across 2 instances. I know some of you out here connect to more than 10, and we can make that experience much easier. And there's a few pieces that make all of this work, the connected Relativity. First, it's authentication via a single sign-on provider. It gives you a seamless way to sign in to many instances using the same identity. Second, it's the workspace portal, connects these instances together, providing you with a single pane of glass to access all your matters that you have access to. And the ability to tie these instances together does mean that we can then transfer the data between them without load files or data export. This is our vision. We want to connect these instances together and then streamline the movement of data across the Relativity ecosystem. So how do we pull this off? First is with shared identity. By leveraging a shared Relativity account, because Relativity is actually an OpenID Connect provider, or Azure, or Google, or Okta, or the Active Directory. Second is instance-to-instance trust. This is where we can establish a trust connection between 2 instances, and then they can talk to each other. And then the identity of one can be then magically transferred to the other. The shared identity and the instance-to-instance trust are the 2 core components that make this all work. Once the trust is connected and we have the identity, well, how do we transfer the data? Well, this is through Relativity integration points, and this is RIP. This is the framework that we've been developing for the past couple years to make it easy to get data in and out of the system, and it can leverage that trust to move data across the ecosystem. We've made a ton of progress with RIP this year. We've added more support for other data sources and destinations, improved the reliability, and we've added more scheduling options. We've made it faster. There are so many ways now to get data in and out of the system, and RIP is extensible and open, and we have people building all kinds of providers to connect with different enterprises' sources of data like Salesforce and Slack. You can get them on our GitHub. And RIP will enable you to construct all kinds of solutions and workflow. You could set up an export to happen at night when activity is low. Maybe send a production straight to opposing Relativity instance. Do it immediately, or have a rolling production that does it at the end of the week. Build a superstructure that collects coding decisions across all your matters within your instance or wherever they're hosted. Solve problems for your clients that you could never do before, or you could, but would just require a tremendous amount of work. My boy Renee says RIP is a game changer. Find him and ask him. He'll talk your ear off. Let's walk through how we can rip data in from Salesforce. You get into your workspace, you say correct new RIP job. You set the profile to your Salesforce provider. You go into Salesforce, then you basically put in your connection information so you can connect into Salesforce. You map your fields. You then click OK, run this job now, run it on a regular basis, run it whenever. You can then import, we've imported here 150,000 of our support tickets in Relativity. There you go. And now you can work with the data. And you can do all the organizing and discovering the truth and acting on it on this structured Salesforce data. How cool is that? Available on our GitHub. Go try it. Go rip in your Salesforce data and see how it works. Hopefully that captures your imagination can what be done. A single platform, connected to many, identity that spans across the instances connected to each other. We're securely moving data around the world. Simplify and accelerate how the world conducts e-discovery. The final component in accelerating discovery comes from the network effects generated by this community of service partners, development partners, and the professionals that all come together in our ecosystem. So what do we mean by network effects? Well, it's simple. When our user community scales, the more value all of us realize. With more practitioners in the community, there will be more people we can learn from. There will be more best practices we can pick up. And as we take advantage of these resources, well, we get smarter. And as we get smarter, we build better best practices. And then we learn these better practices and become smarter. The cycle continues. When we have more end users in the community, we generate a larger market for developers. Developers build solution on the platform, thus making the platform more useful, attracting more users. With the more users in the platform, the market grows, more developers build stuff. The cycle continues. I think you get my point. This is powerful, and we all benefit from it. And this network effect all began with our partners. Our partners, they are and will always be a critical part of how we work and how one works with Relativity. They do all the hefty lifting. They are the ones closest to our customers, understanding their needs and crafting the solutions that continually blow our minds. They push the boundaries of Relativity, and they're the ones that are starting to expand its use case outside of e-discovery. We have 126 partners, and we're committed to our partner success, and I want to take a moment to thank all of our partners for working with us through all our years. And I especially want to thank our best in service partners for the continued commitment to provide a top-notch Relativity hosting service for their clients. The second component of our community is our development partners. The quality and caliber of our development partners is growing every year. And we are starting to see outside investment in our ecosystem. And we have 71 ecosystem apps with 23 new development partners added this year. And they are extending Relativity and helping our shared customers get the most out of their Relativity investment. The solutions are impressive, and the health and vibrancy of their businesses is exciting and motivating. Escofy and their knowledge management and their communication system. Veritone with their advanced video and audio analysis platform. Agility Blue, brand new, fully integrated case and project management. Heretic, a legal contract review application completely embedded into Relativity. See what our development partners are doing. Go check them out in the pavilion. The final component in this community is you. You are the ones who make it all happen. Relativity is an expert system, and it's built for experts. Our platform is a collection of tools, and the tools are nothing without the craftsmen and the artisans, and you are the experts, the gurus who make it all happen. We are a collection of tools. If you try to use Relativity out of the box, you'll struggle. I'm sure you've all been there, right? Expert tool built for experts. You are the guys who make it all happen. And we're building a lot more infrastructure for you, and we've built a tremendous amount of infrastructure in 2017, so you can build your skills, get the most out of your investment in Relativity, and provide more opportunities to engage with this community ecosystem. We have a revamped Relativity community portal. We're updating and refreshing our certification programs. We have more advisory boards to help refine our product. We've invested huge amounts in our customer success team, so you have the support to do things like upgrade readiness. We're participating in more events worldwide. Our partner webinars are keeping us closer to our partners. We're trying to inform them and be better partners to communicate what we're doing. We had our global partner conference here. User groups, I think we have 30 of them worldwide. We're giving our customers opportunities to participate on our blog and reach the tens of thousands of people who read it. And then finally, it's through our platform, because we've designed our platform to be open and flexible and make it easy to share from the start. We are investing in you and this community because you are the center of this, and you make all of this happen. People come up to me like, oh, Andrew, this is amazing. I'm like, I'm just the mascot. You have made this all happen. It's amazing. Simplify and accelerate how the world conducts e-discovery through a single connected platform powered by you, this community, and with so many skilled professionals and organizations using the platform across all segments in our industry. Together, we will create an ecosystem where cross-party collaboration becomes easier, best practices are shared, templates and applications are easily exchanged, and innovation spreads. And with so many forward-thinking minds working together, the pace of innovation in this ecosystem, it accelerates. Huge problems are solved, and amazing stories are made, while a vibrant and healthy community invigorates and motivates all the members within it. Please share with me your amazing story. Let us recognize your contributions and motivate this community to do more. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful Relativity Fest.